So, the first artifact that I thought was very interesting was this old wedding dress. The donor dated it to 1803. And it was worn by Magdalena Lausdatter in Denmark. And my question was, how did it get all the way over here into our collection? The family story is that a man named Arendt Thorkildsen Schmidt brought it over to the US when he immigrated in 1891. So at the time that he brought this dress, it was already 88 years old. And it gets weirder because Magdalena Lausdatter was his first wife's stepmother's mother. So I don't know why he wanted to bring this all the way over when he came to live with his son, but somehow it did come over here and was passed down through his son's family. And it gets weirder. The family apparently they pulled this out for one of the family reunions and had the girls in the family try this dress on and to take photographs in this dress. And the rumor is that this dress was worn by a pregnant woman. I don't know, high empire waist, style of the time, but it does make it a little racier. So. Now this piece is not particularly exciting to look at, but the story behind it is very interesting. This woman, the woman who made this crochet edging, this is the only artifact we have to represent her story. Her name was Anna Elisa Bathilda Hansen Wolf, but she went by Bathilda, thank goodness, so I can shorten it. And she was born in the Schleswig region when it was underneath German control. So she attended German schools, she was taught in German, and that kind of cast a dark cloud over the rest of her life, both when she came over to America. She was born the 27th of January, 1892, and when her mother died, she was only 12 years old. She was the eldest of 4 children, so she was hired out as a maid at the age of 14 by her father, and he was entitled to all of her earnings until her 4th year of servitude. Her last year, she received an arts and craft education from her last employer because they had to break their contract with her. But unfortunately, her father demanded that she came home and help raise the children from his second marriage. At the age of 21, she was married and she immigrated over here with her husband, Valdemar Peterson, in June of 1914. They went to Boston, where her husband had a cousin, but Valdemar couldn't find work. She was working as a maid, and then World War I broke out, and Valdemar wanted to go back and fight for Denmark. So she stayed behind in the United States, and he went overseas and died when his ship sank. And unfortunately, she had their son during this time period. So then she was a single mother trying to support this child and working as a maid. And her thick Germanic accent got her a lot of grief in Boston because there were a lot of sailors around the area. So she decided to avoid the hostility and come out to Nebraska. She accepted a position as a housekeeper for a Danish-Immigrant farmer named Ludwig Fredrickson in Upland, Nebraska. And he became her second husband, and she was granted U.S. citizenship through the marriage. Unfortunately, we have World War I, and then we also have the Spanish influenza pandemic. She became very ill, and apparently in her hallucinations and fevers, she was singing German nursery rhymes and songs, and her neighbors did not like that at all and weren't willing to take care of her. So I assumed that they thought she was going to die because she had had a daughter right before she got sick, and when she recovered, her second husband had given it away for adoption. So she divorced him. And the doctor who took care of her and nursed her back to health trained her as a nurse so that she could find work, which is great. And she worked with that doctor until 1924 when she met and married her third husband, Ray Albert Wolfe, who apparently was a good guy, finally. He was a recently widowed farmer with one son in northern Missouri, and they had one son and two daughters together. And then the daughter that was given up for adoption, when she turned 22, Althilda was able to meet her. So that had a happy ending as well. But that's kind of a difficult story to tell through a bit of crochet edging, but I'm glad that we have it in our collection.